You're worried about healthcare costs in retirement, aren't you? Yes, you are. Everybody is. Rightly so, because it's a big unknown. It's a big unknown. Well, this video is going to share with you why you shouldn't worry so much about it. All right. So if you haven't bought my book, You Can Retire on Social Security. You just go to Amazon.com, Josh Scanlon Books. I don't know who these people are. BC. Right here is a guy named, I don't know who that is, Todd Tressiter. There's my last book, Relax and Retire. Right there. You Can Retire on Social Security. You can get it for free on Kindle. You got 444 reviews right there. You got right here, Tax Bomb in your retirement account. Strategic money planning, Retire in Wellington. All right. Anyway, so this book right here, You Can Retire on Social Security. I go into details about the insanity of the fear of long-term care. I'm going to even bring some modern data, and that's going back to 2020, I think, what I did. So we're going to look at data from just literally 2023. The Journal of Economic Perspectives, Fall 2023, by Eric French, John Bailey Jones, and Rory McGee. This guy is a professor of economics at the University of Cambridge. All that other stuff. This guy is a professor, Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, not a professor. Rory is assistant professor at University of Western Ontario. All right, so these guys are smart. How do we know? Because they're all, right there, PhD types. And yet they're going to show us something. You ready? Households face the risk of high medical spending. Although almost all Americans receive Medicare, Medicare does not cover all health insurance costs, all right? And so they go on to say, to give a sense of medical spending risk for the elderly, Figure 2 shows average medical expenses conditional on age and income for singles. All right, we're going to go down here, Figure 2. All right, this is for retired singles. Look at that, out-of-pocket plus Medicaid, out-of-pocket plus Medicaid. So, and we're following a cohort of people. There are 76, 78, 80, so on and so on. So we're following this, and this is why the HRS studied our longitudinal studies where they follow Josh when he's 50, Josh when he's 52, Josh when he's 54. Here they're following that same cohort of people when they're in their 70s and going into 100. Look, and this is in 2014 dollars. So at 78 years old, they're spending $5,000 out of pocket plus Medicaid. Right? When they hit 100, they're spending $25,000. Oh, but Josh is going to bankrupt me. That's out of pocket plus Medicaid. Just out of pocket, and this is the 3 terciles. I didn't even know what tercile meant. I had to look it up. This is the bottom tercile. This is the median, middle tercile. This is the high tercile in terms of income. All right, so you see the bottom tercile, they're spending about $5,000 a year in 2014 dollars. The middle tercile, they're spending $5,000, then it goes to $10,000. And in the high tercile, the highest income people are spending about $15,000 to $20,000 a year. All right. Now, I want to go back to something. To give a sense of medical spending risk, Figure 2 shows the average medical expenditures. The average. What does that mean? This is what is out of pocket. This is plus Medicaid. Medicaid eats a lot of this up if you're poor. This is what's out of pocket. What does average mean? Let's keep going. By the way, we're going to say what out-of-pocket expenses are. Out-of-pocket expenses are the sum an individual spends on drugs, hospital stays, nursing home care, home health care, doctor visits, dental visits, and outpatient care, along with premiums for private and Medicare insurance. Interesting. The left panel of Figure 2 shows that medical expenses rise rapidly with age. For individuals in the middle income tercile, mean spending, I keep focusing on mean, spending rising from $6,000 at age 76 to $26,000 at age 100. Right? Medical expenses rise as people get older because more are likely to incur end-of-life expenses. Right? So again, the mean, the average medical expenses rise from $6,000 to $26,000 for the highest tercile right here. All right, so let's keep going. Medical spending. All right. Medical spending among retirees is not only high, but its distribution is very concentrated, with the top 5% of spenders accounting for 49.1% of out-of-pocket expenditures in any given year. Are you hearing that? The top 5% of spenders account for almost 50% of total costs in any given year. Calculating the present value of remaining lifetime medical spending, this guy finds that the 90th percentile of discounted medical spending is twice the size of the median. Not the mean, the mean. What is that telling you? That's a lot of gobbledygook, but it's not. The averages always skew towards the outliers. So the outliers, we have we have a few people spending a lot of money, and that skews the averages significantly. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. All right, so here we got 100 people. 5 people spend $100,000 of health care. 95 people spend $5,000, which is what I use for Medicare spending, about $5,000 to $6,000 bucks. Yeah, right about there, 500 to 550. All right, so these 5 people, 5 times $100,000 bucks, cost $500,000. These 95 people at $5,000 bucks, it costs $475,000. Almost going back to exactly what we said. That 5%. So we add all these up, our total spending on healthcare is $975,000 bucks. 500 plus 475. Our total spending is $975,000 bucks. Almost exactly what the study says, which is 5% of the population spends about 50% of the healthcare. So we take $975,000, we divide it by 100. That is our average spending on healthcare right there, $9,750, which is double exactly what the study says, which is double the average, which is double the right there. This right here, oops, you can't see what I'm pointing at. This right here is double what you spend. What you spend. 95% of the people spends $5,000, but the average is double the actuality. Yes, there are some outliers up here. There are some outliers. The interesting thing is a lot of the people who spend a lot of money, they'll have Medicaid that kicks in, right? Maybe, maybe not. They'll have long-term care that kicks in, maybe, maybe not. Or even that, if you're a multi-millionaire or just a millionaire, is that going to bankrupt you? Or even if you have to sell your home to move it in a nursing home. We're doing that with my mom as we speak. We're going to move her in the Virginia Mennonite retirement community. She's going to have to sell her home, and she doesn't have multi-millions. We're going to move her in. We're selling her home, and she's going to move in there. It's going to cost a lot of money. Absolutely. How does she fund it? With her freaking health care, with her home sale. Anyways, this is what all these things, the average cost of blah, 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 blah. And then they say the average cost of long-term care. You know what? This is what ticks me off, too. You know what they don't do when they do the average cost of long-term care? They eliminate the people who don't have long-term care. So if you have long-term care, your average cost is $100,000. 5 divided by 500,000. So if you have long-term care, that is your average cost. But they eliminate the people who don't have any. Now, long-term care could be you need help with the 6 activities of daily living. Just transferring is a big one. Believe it or not. Transferring is, I can't transfer. I can't get up out of a chair and pivot. Isn't that weird? That's a big one. But even that, you could say, I need someone. There's a million different definitions of what determines long-term care. About half the population doesn't have any long-term care. None whatsoever. So how does that factor into long-term care? If you, again, it's survivorship bias. It's not really survivorship bias in the true sense, but it's actually the same thing. We're saying we're eliminating those people, about 50%, no long-term care. We're eliminating those people. So we're just left with the 50% who have some sort of long-term care, and the median out-of-pocket expenditures. We also got to know, is this out-of-pocket or is it total cost? We got to figure that out too. Out-of-pocket just means what you're paying out of your investments or out of your pocket. Is insurance covering? Is Medicaid covering? Is Medicare covering? All these things. So the cost in of itself only reflects back to you if it's out-of-pocket. And obviously your insurance premiums. So if 50% of the people don't have any long-term care and 50% of the people have long-term care, how can you say the average cost for long-term care is not average on the community at large, it's average on the people who need it, which is only half the population side as a whole. So now we say, okay, 5 people have $100,000, 50% of the people who are remaining, we'll just say have $15,000. A lot of times it's just in-home health care, it's just hiring a lady, it's just there's a million different things here. It's not a nursing home. The average long-term care cost is $100,000, and you assume that means nursing home. It's not, dude. It's just not. Long-term care is my mom's got long-term care at home. She has a lady that comes in and helps her out. You know what I'm saying? So now we got 50% of the people. So we got 50% of people have long-term care. 5 have $100,000. 45 have 15. All right, hope this makes sense because we have 100 people. 50% of the people have long-term care. 50% of the people don't. All right, so 5 have $100,000. Each has $500,000. 45, and what I was throwing out there, $15,000. 45 times 15,000. That's $675,000. Right? 675. That's 1,175,000. Divide that by 50. All right, so you got 1,175,000 divided by 50. Oh my goodness, the average long-term care is 23,500. 23,500. Oh my goodness. You see what I'm saying? You're like, yeah, but my long-term care for the vast majority, for 90% of the population with long-term care, my long-term care isn't anywhere near 23,500. My long-term care is only $15,000. Then you take this as a whole, and our average long-term care is 11,750. Because you have 100 people, again, 50% of the people have no long-term care. And we take it as a population as a whole, we divide this by 100, as opposed to 50, and it halves that. But even this, is that enough to bankrupt you? No! No! Because if you're poor, you got Medicaid will pay for all that stuff, man. A good proportion of people, Medicare pays, it's like 90 days, or I think it's 90 days Medicare pays for. Then you say, what's the average stay in a nursing home? The average stay in a skilled care facility? The average stay in a assisted living facility? See how we just start dicing this down? We say the general population, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So we got the general population up here, then we start going down and down and down and down, and this is where we're scaring people. This is the 5%. And a lot of those 5%, A, they'll be on Medicaid, they don't have any money. Or B, they'll be wealthy enough that they can self-insure anyway. It's just not enough to sit there and say, I can't retire because let's worry about health insurance or health care or this. Are there people who go bankrupt? Dude, there are people who freaking die. NRA used to do this thing. They say, all these kids are dying by firearms. And if you factor it, got rid of gangbangers, we say more children are dying from drowning in their bathtubs every year than an accidental discharge from firearms. It's just a fact. Because what the anti-gun will say, oh my God, they use children, they're gangbangers. 17-year-old gangbangers. They'll say, they'll say that's a child dying from firearms. Okay, well, if they're getting involved in that, I wish they wouldn't, but they are. That's not like a little freaking baby James who's freaking sitting there like, oh, daddy left his gun here. It's horrible when it happens, and it does happen. And freaking people need to be held accountable for that crap, for sure. But more children die in a freaking 6 inches of water in a bathtub than do from accidental discharge. But they don't use that because this is freaking scare tactics with numbers, and people fall for this stuff. It's crazy. And this is the thing right here. The population's 100. You start diving. Now we're sitting here. This is what everybody's worried about, the 5%. I said, well, in that case, your probability of success or retirement is 5%. You better not retire because having a failing retirement plan is the equivalent of freaking your plane crashing, is what one guy said. I'm like, oh. Anyway, these are the data sets. This isn't just your old buddy Josh yapping. This is the data, and this is current data from 2023. From but trust the experts. Okay, because I'm not an expert. I'm just in my basement in my Maine Mariners, Boston Bruins Maine Mariners shirt from the old days, and just look right here, my little whiteboard. All right, well, don't trust me. Trust your own freaking expertise. Trust your own eyes. And say, how many people do I know actually who died before they went to a nursing home? Bet a very, very high amount. All right, love your thoughts. God bless. We'll see you.